In a previous video, I downloaded some data for historical gold and platinum prices, and I took the ratio, and I assumed that the ratio would be influenced by the cycles of astrology, and used that to project going forward where platinum and gold prices are going. But obviously that makes the assumption that gold and platinum only fluctuate with respect to the solar system. So in this video, I wanted to try the reverse and assume that we arrived on a distant planet where the solar system doesn't apply anymore, and try to figure out what the periods of the precious metals should be. And the way I did this was what's called autocorrelation. So imagine I took the price of platinum and I correlated to the price, or take the ratio of platinum to gold, and I correlated it to itself, but 5 years ago. Now, if the ratios have a period of 5 years, it's going to have a very high positive correlation rate. If it's high 5 years ago, it will be high today, right? If, on the other hand, the cycle was really 10 years, then we should have a very high negative correlation rate. If it's high 5 years ago, it should be low today, and vice versa. And the idea is to find the autocorrelation for different time periods and to make a best estimate on what the period should be. And that's what I've done in this experiment. So obviously, if we tried an autocorrelation for 0 days, we're correlating the price of the ratio today versus the ratio today. Obviously, that's going to have a correlation of 1, perfect correlation, right? And the further we move away from 0, the less correlated it's going to be, right? The price of the ratio today is going to be still highly correlated to a ratio a month ago, right? If it was high a month ago, the ratio of platinum to gold doesn't change very fast in 1 month, right? Now, as we take it to 8 or 9 years, the correlation drops to 0, right? After 8 or 9 years, what happened 8 or 9 years ago probably is not going to bear much value today. But what gets really interesting is that something really interesting happens at around 13 years. What was the exact number? I calculated this earlier. 4,672 days, approximately 13 years, is when you have the greatest negative correlation. And it's a very high negative as well. It's 0.5 something, negative 0.56, which is, generally speaking, statistically significant, where you're not going to see that by chance. So what this tells us is that the ratio of platinum to gold has a cycle of roughly 26 years. Now, what would be really interesting, I hope to do that in the next video, is to find the curve that fits that 26-year cycle and subtract it out. And then we could run this experiment to find the shorter wave cycles. I hope to demonstrate that in another video. Okay, so 26 years, every 13 years. If platinum to gold was high 13 years ago, it should be low today, vice versa. Now let's go back to the platinum to gold ratio. 13 years ago was 2008, when the ratio between gold and platinum to gold was above 2.5, right? And then we had the Great Recession. So if we believe that we're going to see the inverse of what happened 13 years ago, that's even better news than what astrology is predicting, right? We're going to see the inverse. You could draw a line in the middle, and this should be a mirror image of that, right? If we were to believe the autocorrelation model. I'd much rather believe the astrology model, though. I want more time to buy. Everybody's like, when are we going to short squeeze silver or platinum? That's very short-sighted, right? Most people who win the lottery overnight don't do very well, right? I'd much rather have more time to invest, and more importantly, get more people on board. Very few people actually made out like a bandit with GameStop or with Bitcoin. A lot more people are going to make out very well if the price of platinum goes up 20%, 30% a year for a protracted amount of time, right? But unfortunately, neither astrology nor the autocorrelation gives us a lot of time, right? The astrology gives us a little bit more time.